3 haunting true stories from the depths of night. Number 3. The vanishing hitchhiker. When we think about nocturnal activities, hitchhiking isn't the first thing that comes to mind. It's hard to imagine why anyone would want to stand on the side of a dark road late at night waiting for a ride from a stranger. And it's even harder to imagine why anyone would pick up a hitchhiker after midnight. But people do still hitchhike today, and some of them even get picked up by strangers in the middle of the night. And some of those hitchhikers never make it to their destination alive. In September 2009, a young woman named Lauren Spire vanished without a trace while hitchhiking through Indiana. She was 20 years old at the time and studying at Purdue University. That night, she decided to go out with some friends at a bar in West Lafayette, Indiana. By midnight, she had gotten very drunk and decided to leave the bar and call a cab. But when her friends arrived outside to look for her, they found Lauren standing on the side of the road waving down cars. They warned her that she could be putting herself in danger. But Lauren refused to listen and started hitchhiking in the direction of her home. Her friends called cabs to follow her, but all of them turned back after seeing the kind of neighborhood that she entered. After this, Lauren's friends were never able to see her again. The police launched an extensive search for her, but it revealed nothing except that she had been seen getting into a car matching the description of a 2007 Chevy Malibu driven by an unknown white man. But despite searching everywhere, the police couldn't find the vehicle or the person who had driven it. In the days following Lauren's disappearance, hundreds of students gathered together to pass out flyers and search for clues, but she was nowhere to be found. To this day, no one knows what happened to Lauren after she entered that strange neighborhood, and her case remains unsolved. Number 2. Midnight in the graveyard. Graveyards are creepy places even during the day. Just rows upon rows of cold, hard stones marking the final resting places of loved ones. No wonder people consider them haunted. Add darkness to the equation, and they turn into terrifying landscapes that can make even the most skeptical person uneasy. For young Daniel Fowler from South Carolina, though, graveyards didn't have any special significance. So he decided to use them as a shortcut to his school. This might have been because he was desperate to avoid bullies, or it may have been that he simply didn't care what people thought of him. Either way, his habit soon caught the attention of his mother, Debbie. Debbie tried talking Daniel out of taking such a spooky route to school, but her warnings fell on deaf ears, and so one morning she followed him to school to protect him. What she witnessed shocked her to her core. Daniel had climbed over the fence of a graveyard and was walking among the tombstones. At first, Debbie hid behind some trees, but then she stepped into the open to confront her son. She shouted at him to come away from the dead people, but Daniel responded by screaming at her and running off. Debbie chased after him, calling his name, but there was no reply. All of a sudden, she felt a cold breeze on the back of her neck and heard footsteps following her. She turned around, but there was no one there. As she continued to chase Daniel, the sound of footsteps grew louder until she finally heard her son's voice. He was lying on the ground, and when she bent down next to him, he told her that he had fallen. Shaken by the experience, she helped him up and took him home. That night, Debbie spoke to Daniel about respecting the dead, but she couldn't shake off the feeling that something eerie was going on. She had seen enough horror movies to know that if her son had fallen, she should have seen some blood. But Daniel's scraped knees and elbows were clean, as if he had fallen on water. Concerned, she put Daniel under surveillance, but he only went to the graveyard once more. This time, Debbie confronted him about it, and he confessed that he liked being in the graveyard, because it reminded him of the fun horror movie she had taken him to see months before. Relieved that nothing supernatural was going on, Debbie decided not to interfere with her son's peculiar hobby anymore. Number 1. The boy who followed me. Home. Imagine you are driving down a quiet street late at night, and suddenly you see a boy walking alone in the dark. You slow down to ask if he needs help, but when you roll down your window, he disappears. It sounds like a plot twist from a scary movie, but this is exactly what happened to a young woman in Texas. The woman, who remained anonymous, was returning home from her sister S house early one morning, when she saw a boy she estimated to be around 10 or 11 years old standing at the edge of her street. The road was dark, and she couldn't see any houses nearby. Concerned for the child's safety, she stopped to ask if he needed assistance. But when she rolled down her window and asked him if he was lost, he disappeared. Startled, she called out to him and even got out of the car to look for him, but the boy was gone. She searched for a while longer, but eventually gave up and returned to her car. That's when she noticed something odd. The street had several street lamps, and under one of them sat a pair of shoes that looked like children's shoes. She picked them up and turned them over in her hands, but they had no identifying marks. Confused, she got back into her car and drove home. She couldn't stop thinking about the strange encounter, and so the following day, she returned to the spot where she had found the boy and the shoes. She searched the area thoroughly, but all she came across was a single blue balloon. Fearing that the boy could have been kidnapped, she contacted the police, but they didn't seem to take her seriously. They told her that she probably hadn't seen a boy at all, and suggested that she see a therapist. Desperate to prove that the police were wrong, she put up a reward for any information about the boy, and even went on local news channels to tell her story. Finally, someone came forward and told her that they had seen a boy matching the boy's description in the same place a week earlier. The woman's heart sank. Could it mean that the police were right and that she had imagined the whole thing? Or was the boy still out there somewhere waiting for someone to save him? What did you think of these haunting stories? Which one scared you the most? Tell us in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more scary videos. If you want to hear more about mysterious things that go bump in the night, check out our other videos. There's something there for everyone. For instance, you can watch What is the Scariest Thing You've Ever Experienced? Or I Woke Up in the Middle of the Night. Whichever you choose, we guarantee you won't regret it.